guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my favourite blushes. Last week I showed you my two favourite cream contours. They are my holy grail, so go and check that out if you missed it. I will link it on screen for you. Before that I also showed you my favourite Drugstore foundation, which is a dupe for the Armani Luminous Silk. Again, if you've missed it, I'll link it on screen for you. And today I'm going to be showing you my favourite blushes. I can't pick just two for blush because it is impossible. Blush is my favourite, and I have a couple of different consistencies, so I'm just going to tell you my favourites and then I will show you two. My face is still a bit shiny because I still haven't set it because we're moving on to blush and then I will go on to powder. So excuse the shine. These are my two favourite compact cream blushes. This one is the Bounce and Blur by bareMinerals. It's in the shade Coral Cloud and I love it. They do a range of different shades, so if you like the consistency of this particular blush, they do a range of different colours. This one doesn't have a fragrance. This one I can smell. It's got that classic vanilla scent that Melt Cosmetics have in most of their products. The only thing, I like the smell, but it reminds me of Play-Doh. So not my absolute favourite, but I do still like it. The difference between these two is this one is very creamy and gives a slightly dewy finish. This one is a little bit more mattifying. It's very different in its consistency. It is kind of like I want to say solid whipped mousse. It's a bit more bouncy, and that's why it's called Bounce and Blur, and the blurring effect is because it is slightly more mattifying. So if you want something that's creamy but not too dewy, go for something like this because it's beautiful. And the reason I'm talking about creams is because creams are flattering for all age groups. Whether you are mature or very youthful and young, it will suit everybody. That is why I'm going to talk about those rather than powders. I will do a series of powders after, but I want to talk about my favourites, which are creams. So these two are both fantastic. More dewy, more matte. This one is the Melt Cosmetics Cream Blush, and then this one is the Bounce and Blur. And I don't know if you can see, but the Bounce and Blur does give a more kind of blurry finish to the skin. It's a lot more mattifying, and although this one isn't super dewy, you can see that it's a bit more hydrating looking than the Coral Cloud. For liquids, we have the Iconic London Sheer Blush, and then we also have the Natasha Denona Puff Paint. This one is less kind of shiny and in your face. This one is more like glass-like. Looks beautiful in summer, gives you a little bit more of a wet look to your cheek. And although I know that's not for everybody, but it is so beautiful, and especially if you're on holiday. This is really like a very light wash of colour. It's more of a tint, so if you want something very lightweight that gives you a nice kind of glowy holiday vibe, then give this a try. This one I wore on my wedding day. I love this one. It still gives a nice shine to the skin, but it's a bit more long wearing because it doesn't give that kind of real dewy vibe to the skin. So if you can see, this one is the Puff Paint by Natasha Denona and this one is Iconic London, and you can see the difference. The Iconic London really catches the light and is a lot more dewy, whereas the Natasha Denona one is not really matte, but it's definitely more matte compared to the Iconic London. This gives you a lot more of a wet look finish, and this one I would say has got more longevity. My two favourite stick cream blushes are by Nude Sticks, which you know I absolutely love. This also comes in a matte, but the Nudies Bloom just gives that nice dewy finish. And then you have the one by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Again, come in a range of different shades. This one is stunning, but it wouldn't be for me because it's got shimmer in it. This one is called Bubblegum. It has this incredible golden shimmer to it, which is absolutely beautiful. It is so divine. The only thing I find with sort of products that have a little bit of shimmer in them is it will enhance any kind of like skin texture. This one doesn't contain any shimmery particles, but because it's dewy it reflects the light, but it's more of a flat reflection, so it kind of almost diminishes the appearance of skin texture rather than enhancing it. They work differently, even though they're both kind of like bounce the light back. The shimmery particles do not work in your favour, whereas something that has no shimmer to it but is dewy, which is kind of, this is the only product I've ever really found that does that, really does give a glass-like finish to the skin, but it is more flat, so it just kind of like makes your skin look more flawless. It's just, this is why I always use it, because I love it. I love the formulation. Being as I've been doing affordable products on this side, I'm going to use the Revolution affordable blush on this side, and I'm going to use the Natasha Denona Puff Paint on this side. You've seen Sweet Peach Peony a number of times. That would be my go-to because I blooming love it. You've seen it enough times, let's show you something different. So this is the shade Peach Filter. I feel like most of their blushes, the affordable ones from Revolution, are kind of luminescent. They're quite vibrant. Not luminescent as in shimmery, I mean luminescent as in they're vibrant. So stipple that in and make sure that you really stipple it onto the back of your hand. You can see once you blend it in, it's not as vibrant, but you don't want to apply too much to your cheek. So you can go on the apples of the cheeks, but remember it can look a little bit too Aunt Sally. So smile and go on the high point up here. Because if you apply it when you're smiling too much and then you relax, it drops your cheek, which means your blush is often down here, which gives you a bit of a sad finish to your face. So when you smile, just go on the higher part of your cheek and then bounce that colour backwards to lift the face. So these ones are only really cheap. I mean, like a few quid. Yeah, so these are only £6. I've just looked them up on Beauty Bay and I will link them below for you. And they come in a variety of different shades. Really quite nice. Looks pretty. Now let's go in with the Natasha Denona Puff Paint because they're similar. Like, they're similar in their consistency. They're similar in their texture. Both liquid. Again, super flattering for all age groups. Blend this out on the back of your hand, smile, pop it a little bit higher. Actually, they're not too dissimilar, peachier, pinkier. I say I wore this one for my wedding. I didn't intentionally go to wear this one, I just was in Sephora while I was away for my wedding, and we don't have Sephora in the UK, so I always pop in there, and they had one of these left. I had to ask to see if they had any. And I didn't even know it was a thing because Natasha Denona stopped sending to me a little while back. I think they kind of axed everybody that was classed as a micro-influencer over on Instagram and ignore the fact that people have got a following on YouTube. It's really beneficial for me to be able to receive gratis-based products from PR companies. It's not me being ungrateful and stamping my feet and being like, they don't send to me anymore. I am trying to show you guys products, and the fact that they gift them to you so you can show them is great. But I did buy this one with my own money because it was for my wedding, so that was different. So as you can see, we've got the more expensive one and the cheaper one. There's nothing to really pick between the two. Do you need to buy the most expensive one? Probably not. They both look beautiful on the skin. You can just see this one's more peachy and this one's more pinky. So as I said, liquids, creams are flattering for all age groups. They are what I would reach for all the time because you can just put on a wash of colour, or you can really layer it if you want something a bit more punchy. You can set it with a powder if you want to, it's completely up to you, but I kind of sometimes like that it gives a shine to the skin. It is a lot more shiny in studio lighting, whereas in daylight it's a little bit softer. But yeah, I really like them. So those are my favourite blushes. There are so many more. The drawer I have for blush is kind of the most jam-packed, and I never used to be a big blush wearer, but now I love it. So I've got a lovely collection, but these are my favourites at the moment. So I've just popped some powder onto my face and I love the final result. You would never know that one side is completely affordable, the other side is more expensive. Do you need to spend that much? Probably not. Is it nice to have those products? Of course. But do you need it? No. So I hope you found that useful and it was a bit fun. If you've got any suggestions for continuing Thursday's uploads in terms of favourites, let me know in the comment section below. I will do a tutorial on the difference between setting powders and finishing powders, because there is a difference. If you missed my tutorial on how to prevent concealer from creasing, I will link it on screen for you now, because that does explain a little bit of the difference between powders and where you might be going wrong in terms of what you're using to prevent your concealer from moving. I will list and link all my favourite blushes down below. Don't forget to go follow my previous tutorials on Thursday's uploads if you missed my cream contour and my dupe for the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Come follow me over on Instagram where I'm most active, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye guys!